Two-nation theory. In the subcontinent, every individual who embraced Islam associated himself socially and politically to the Muslim society and state. Thus, he would break all the previous relationships and link himself to a new social system. On these basis, with the passage of time, a separate and unique temperament of the Muslims of India formed. It was entirely different from that of the other Indian nations. This identity formed the basis of two-nation theory. In the perspective of the subcontinent, two-nation theory means that two major nations, the Muslims and the Hindus, were settled there. The two nations were entirely different from each other in their religious ideas, the way of living, and collective thinking. Their basic principles and the way of living are so different that despite living together for centuries, they could not intermingle with each other. The Indian Muslims fought the war of freedom on the basis of two-nation theory, and after accepting this theory as a historical fact, two separate states, Pakistan and India, came into existence. This theory is the basis of ideology of Pakistan. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan and two-nation theory. Sir Syed was the first person who used the term two-nation theory due to Hindi-Urdu controversy in Banaras in 1867. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan declared the Muslims a separate nation. He convinced the government that there are at least two nations settled in the subcontinent. One of them is Muslims and the other is Hindus. The Muslims are a separate nation in every respect because their civilization, culture, language, customs, and philosophy of life are different from those of Hindus. This theory infused a political spirit among the Muslims and provided them with such a leadership which gave a new spirit and push to the freedom movement. India was partitioned because of two-nation theory. Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal and two-nation theory. Allama Iqbal presented the idea of a separate state for the Muslims. He said, the Muslims would not allow that their religious, political, and social rights are usurped. Therefore, I would like to see Punjab, Northwest Frontier Province, Sindh, and Balochistan put together into a single state. Chaudhary Rehmat Ali and two-nation theory. In January 1933, during his stay at England, Chaudhry Rehmat Ali, along with some of his friends, published a pamphlet named Now or Never. It was also distributed among Indian politicians. In this pamphlet, the name of the separate state for the Muslims was proposed as Pakistan. Chaudhry Rehmat Ali was of the opinion that the Muslims possess the history and civilization of their own, and on the basis of these two, their nationality is not Hindustani but Pakistani. He believed that the Muslims are a nation that is different from other nations living in India. Quaid-e-Azam and two-nation theory. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was a firm advocate of two-nation theory. He gave the Muslims the status of a separate nation in every respect. He said, Muslims are a nation according to any definition of a nation, and they must have their homeland, their territory, and their state. Pakistan resolution was passed on 23rd of March 1940. In his presidential address, Quaid-e-Azam Rahmatullah said, the Hindus and Muslims belong to two different religious philosophies, social customs, and literatures. They have different epics, different heroes, and different episodes. To tie together two such nations under a single state, one as a numerical minority and the other as a majority, must lead to growing discontent and final destruction of any fabric that may be so built for the government of such a state. It would be better for the British government to announce the partition of the subcontinent by keeping in view the interests of the two nations. It would be a right step religiously as well as historically.